No matter how capable and powerful a narcissist pretends to be, they are highly incompetent. They do not have the resilience one needs to succeed at life. They do not have the basic life skills, but they like to believe they know it all. They like to believe they are the jack of all trades, but in reality, they are master of none. They have created this false construct for themselves and have made that their reality. The false construct tells them nobody is better than you. You are the one who deserves to be admired. You are the one who deserves to be put on a pedestal. You're the one who deserves all the praise because you are better than everybody else. But you and I both know that is not true, which is why in today's episode we're going to talk about 5 basic life qualities a narcissist does not have. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. I welcome to you my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new and have not subscribed already, I highly request you to do so because your subscription to the channel helps spread awareness about narcissistic abuse. Let's straight away dive into the topic by talking about the first quality they can never have, and that is being thankful or being grateful. A narcissist cannot be thankful ever. They're constantly plagued by a deep sense of dysphoria or dissatisfaction with life. They always chase new things. They are always addicted with something that keeps them distracted because they feel this deep sense of emptiness. The major difference between the emptiness that you feel because of the trauma they caused you and their emptiness is the awareness. You know it is coming from within and you have to work on it to fill it with self-love, presence of yourself, compassion, and all those good things. But with the narcissist, they try to find an external solution to the internal problem. They completely disregard all the clues they get from their environment that suggest one and the only thing. You are the problem. You need to look within. You need to work on patterns. They remain under this impression that everybody else is the problem and they are the victim. They keep self-victimizing themselves, and that is what maintains and sustains this constant sense of dysphoria, this dissatisfaction. That's why I say they are their own biggest enemy. No matter how much they have, no matter how much you love them, no matter how satisfied they should feel, it's not enough. And a narcissist is doomed because they would never know what is not making them feel enough. They will always stay in the chase, and that will lead to their demise. Quality number 2, lack of adaptability. A person needs to be adaptable to a certain extent. They need to be accepting of others to just coexist with their peers, with their families, with their partners, because nobody is perfect. Yet the narcissist seeks that perfection in every other person they meet, which is why their constant urge to devalue others is what takes the driver's seat. They cannot form true connections because nobody is ideal in their mind. They do idealize you or other people initially, but then when they see that human element to you, you are equalized to trash. The truth no narcissist will easily accept is that they feel small within, extremely small. They see themselves as the trash they think you are. They're quite rigid and perfectionists, which is not to say every perfectionist is a narcissist, but every narcissist is a perfectionist in one way or the other. Their expectations from you are crazy, wild, bizarre, and unachievable. People say it feels like the goal is always moving. It's a moving target. You do not know where you're supposed to hit. And when you get an idea, okay, that is what I'm supposed to target, and you hit it, still not enough. Now there's something else coming up for you. So this lack of appreciation, lack of adaptability makes a narcissist extremely fragile. Situations decide and impact their internal state. So as much as they like to believe they're omnipotent, they are not. They are weaker than anybody else you can imagine, because one small change in the things and you see a narcissist raging, in reality falling apart. The third thing they lack is being authentic. They can't be authentic. A narcissist cannot by nature be authentic, because what is a narcissist essentially? Nothing but a false self, a false construct they have made up, and that's based on lies. They think they are someone that they are not. So their reality and their fantasy are completely different. So if a person is living that way, how can they be authentic? They change their persona depending on the person they are interacting with, and depending on the purpose, depending on what they want out of that interaction. They are shapeshifters, they are chameleons, they are dementors, they are basically shadows. They are people like you and me with no souls, and that is the difference. They do not have genuine likes or dislikes. They only copy other people's likes and dislikes, because they know by disliking a certain thing they'll be able to garner supply, they'll be appreciated. They know by liking a certain group of people or certain things they will be able to create a sense of superior belonging. They'll be able to get validation from other people. It's all a toxic mind game a narcissist is always playing with him or herself. They're stuck in this trap of getting constant validation, and that is such an inauthentic way of living. They do not have any character, they do not have any set of values. They are driven by the desire to manipulate, to exploit people. And someone who is living that way, how can they be genuine? Life quality number 4 they do not have is independence. A narcissist is more codependent than a codependent him or herself. I call them mutated codependents. If you were to leave a narcissist in the middle of a desert, they won't last for more than an hour, because as I said earlier in other points, they need constant supply. So they might like to think they are really independent. They don't need anybody else. They are self-sustaining. They can maintain their ego on their own, but the truth is they need you in their life more than you need them. They depend on your emotions. They depend on your memory of them. They depend on how you're getting impacted by their presence for them to feel any importance at all, because it's also known they feel so unimportant deep within. They are nothing but a huge lie who needs to be constantly told and believed in for it to exist. Once the light shines in, the light of truth, the light of who you are and how you do not need to be with them, their foggy self melts away, it goes away. That is how frail they are, that's how weak they are. But in that weakness is the toxicity that comes across as very strong, very pushy, and life-altering, as you know. You need to understand that in a narcissist's life, their sources of supply are the foundation of their personality, because they themselves are like this structure that has been built in thin air. It doesn't have any base. If you remove yourself from the equation, it will collapse. It's doomed to be that way. Life quality number 5 they lack is they can't listen. Now, many people are bad listeners. Those who are not narcissists, by habit, they like to talk more. I'm not talking about these people. I'm talking about narcissists. They do not listen even when they seem to be listening. All the time they are extracting data to collect information, to know who you are, only to recognize your weak points and how they can infiltrate in, how they can seep in, how they can find their way into your psyche, only to abuse you, manipulate you as a source of supply. They never listen to care, which is why none of their romantic relationships actually last. Because they're not there with the partner, they're there for themselves, they're there for the admiration, but not for the family they pretend to be a part of. They have a piece of flesh in their chest that keeps beating, that we call heart, but for them It's not a heart, it's just a piece of flesh, as I called it. They do not actually have a heart. And for someone to truly listen and to care, they need to have a heart. They need to have empathy. They need to be genuinely concerned. And you and I both know, if there is one person that a narcissist is concerned about truly, it is themselves. You may be dying in front of them. If it is not bothering them, if it is not impacting their functioning in any way, they don't care. They'll justify why you're suffering, and they will want you to suffer more because that makes them feel superior and more powerful, especially if that suffering is caused by them. In conclusion, narcissists are pseudo-humans, subhumans. They are entities. For these reasons, they don't see anyone beyond their own false self. They always want others to serve their ego because their ego pedestically depends on other people's validation and admiration. You're nothing but a pawn in their game, and you have to remove yourself out of that equation, and you will see the narcissist collapsing. There is no one home. You just need to accept that. Having that said, I would like to know what your thoughts and opinions are. Drop them in the comments below. Share this episode with others, and I'll talk with you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.